Good evening. You're listening live to the Xtreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the 80-degree balmy day here in Central Florida, just west of Orlando, Florida. I am in the Pine Hills Palace, just west of Orlando, Florida. From the great Midwest, I've got RDV joining me tonight to continuing our coverage of Fallout, the TV show, Season 2, Episode 2, The Golden Rule. And RDV, I got to be honest with you, I really don't know which of the Golden Rules we're talking about. Is it the treat others the way you like to be treated? Do
The one
unto
she said.
others... Huh?
There's
Well, that's one of them. There's three
Yep.
of them. There's that one. There's do unto others as you would not want done
Do unto you. Yeah.
first. And then the third one, of course, which is really the best rule of all, is those who have the gold make the rules. And I think there's a fourth one I just can't think of right now. But
No, but the one she's focusing on is do unto others, unto you, basically being kind to others.
yeah, and making judgments and all
And
that.
this series, I gotta say, I've noticed it in the first episode, which we were talked about last week. Go check that out, the review. But when it comes to this series so far, it just seems like everyone, even Maximus, just seems like they're not the characters they were in the first season. Almost like we got a reset. Like Lucy seems a little bit more naive. It's just she seems like she just stepped out of the vault yesterday. Now in this, everything she's gone through, it just seems like she got sent back to factory reset. Like she didn't learn anything from having to kill people in the first season. When the people who basically wanted the drugs that the Walter Goggins character needed, they're in the grocery store. She was forced to kill, and she just doesn't realize that hey, sometimes you have to do this stuff. And she tries to get on to Walter Goggins' character, Ghoul, Cooper, basically because he doesn't trust people. You're gonna waste on it, And he says your problem is the golden rule. It's like I used to believe in the golden rule. Then I was like you. Then I grew up. It's like it's a pretty much you kill or you be killed in this Unicode universe here. There's no such thing as nice anymore.
Well, I mean, they come from different perspectives, right? I mean, and I think you're saying her being naive is true because the one thing about this Lucy character, I think I'm going to say a lot of things, and I mean them all in a positive way here.
Yeah.
She's a combination between cute and really fucking hot, sexy. I don't know how to explain it. She really, but some people have a look, and it's not not attractive. Some people are just, handsome, charismatic, whatever. She looks like the role she's playing. Physically, she's nice, but she looks like a cartoonish character, and I don't mean that in any sort of bad way. I think she's ideally cast for it, and she's bringing you that little bit of naivety that you would expect to kind of have. Now, if people want to argue about the whole girl bossing and the whole stuff to it and all that, I'm not even going to go there right now.
Right.
To me, I like the fact that there's this huge contrast because the one thing this episode does better than it did in episode 1 of the season is when it's focusing on just trying to give you a bit of the Fallout universe. And like I say, some of the CGI sucks. Some of the sets look great. When it's outside and we're seeing everything, it looks great because when we open, we see Max, turn to change the channel kind of heat guy with his whiny ass face. It's an interesting idea, right? He's a squire whose master basically dies and he's faking being that dude. But in this episode, we see him as a young kid going through. I think it's Shady Sands, the one that got nuked.
Yes. So
this is a nice scene here to start us off.
I liked the how his dad was an inventor. He's basically very overall very intelligent man. He's got a loving family and stuff. And this is something I kind of really didn't need to have in this series. For this second season, because we already know who blew up the town. We already know that. So this is like they took an episode like, hey, in case you forgot, it was Kyle MacLachlan. It was
Hank.
Not Hank, Lucy's dad. He basically blew it up. We didn't know what, but he's responsible for the destruction because we were told by that last season by the other girl who was basically who was killed off. She was the leader of the resistance. And so now we're seeing how it unfolds. This guy comes in with a cart, and I'm thinking like, okay, we already know about Shady Sands. We know that got leveled, and we know that's him. So I'm like, we already know where we're going with this, and it kind of felt like it was just kind of not needed.
You're right, but
they wanted to show. Yeah, I like how it was done, but I'm just saying it just felt like it was kind of a waste of the episode, and this episode just felt like we're kind of like getting nudged back and forth. Okay, here, and I'm thinking like I've read comic books like this before, and it's just like you barely get any advancement in the plot from either story because you're constantly bouncing back and forth.
Right.
And we got Lucy's story with Walter Goggins going out. They're go through the wasteland, and they get stopped because they hear a woman screaming. They go into this hospital. We see the old Ecto one ambulance because it's the 1950s, and they go in there, and he's like, Walter Goggins is like, dude, keep going. It's a trap. I'm not going in there. It's a waste of our resources. They go in there. They see these two people, and he recognizes right away these people are in togas. He knows they're from a camp that's like, it was like, why are you guys this far south? You're not supposed to be over here. So right there and there, it's like, okay, what's going on with this? But then we also have the first introduction. We get the giant like scorpions, a little mutated insects.
Scorpion, I think is
what we have
like radiation. Yeah,
the rads, But also to mention the rads at the very beginning with Maximus's dad, who was testing the water. He said there's no rats. Which is very much a Fallout lingo. So I do like the fact they're bringing some of that stuff in there. But the best thing in this episode was, besides Henry, or it's not Henry, but Hank, going around and basically trying to perfect the microchip we saw in the first episode. Basically, could control people. He was testing it in a miniature version on mice, and every time he's trying to get the mouse going to this little desk, get a little cubicle in his little thing, and he was trying to get the mouse going to the chair, go to the keyboard, little computer, and every time he kept increasing it, and the mouse explode, and you see him going back and forth. Finally, he stops. He's like, "Hey, what's this?" It's the elite, package, the people who paid, to basically to be in a cryogenic thing. So he follows one of those guys out, uses another device on the guy's neck, talks to him. The guy doesn't know what's going on. The guy mentions like, he's like, well, where's your wife and your kid? He's like, oh, it was expensive. I can only afford myself. He's like, oh. So he locks the guy's hands on the table. The guy's he knows there's something on the back of his neck. He can't tell what it is, but he's hurt and stuff. And then he just kills him. Makes his head explode. And that's probably like one of my favorite parts of this episode was all the little explosions. And I'm thinking because every time he exploded a mouse, they made like a compilation, one after another. That's so fast. I'm thinking you got to clean out each of those things. Unless he's got a cubicle, he just keep standing on top of there. I just kept thinking about the back of mind, the rationalizations as like these are just kind of stupid tests, but I love the props like that. You see the strawberry jam hits the window for the guy or the mouse. But yeah, that was going on. You had that story with him, just driving back and forth in the little bunker, trying to perfect the robo-slave thing. But we also had this episode was the bigger plot was Maximus, not only who gets see his parents, his child story, and how he wrote out the atom bomb inside a Indiana Jones style.
I've never seen that before. How do they think of these things?
I know, right?
But I bet you that 1950 Airs refrigerator is still running today.
Oh, it probably is. Even after that, he was able to just get a cold Nuka-Cola out of there. But so the other thing we get to because they had a fusion core that they stole when the Brotherhood Knights came out and basically raided the compound of the California rebels last season. Now they have that fusion core. So they go down to and they're like what's going on here? There's a little swing set here, and then you see a rocket ship thing. The two guys they pull it open and they insert the basic device in there, and all of a sudden you see these things rise out of the ground. These pillars are on the ground, and what is this? You see it's the fans. They're like turbine fans. What are they doing here? And blows away the sand, and it reveals the hidden storage base of Area 51.
Yeah,
and
little Dune-ish here.
This is where we're reminded that this is kind of like a goofy kind of series because the Brotherhood Knights go there. They're experimenting everything. They open their guys like, oh, the refrigerator, and he pulls open. There's an alien in there. He's like, He pulls the alien out of there. He doesn't give a shit about the alien. He's like, "Oh, dude, look, we got a freezer," because it's a wasteland. They don't have ice and all this, fresh stuff like that. So they don't give a shit about the alien. But they're going there, checking out the different devices there, and then they're like, they come across this nice like 1957 Bel Air or whatever it's called, Chevy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's ruby red's up, and they're like, "Oh, dude, let's go test it out." And then so you think they're gonna go take it for a spin? No, they use it for target practice, and they blow it up. And I was just like, the other thing too, we got these other knights in there too, who serve under Maximus, are playing hot potato with a grenade, and they do this a couple times in the episode, and that kind of I rolled my eyes for that because I was like, what is the point of that? To show that the Brotherhood chapter is just incompetent and stupid.
Yeah, and it's, I don't mind the show being a bit campy in parts, but I want to have a clear direction on all the different factions out there. Hey, when you have something as goofy as it is with the Area 51 and all that, it looked big. It felt big. I thought, oh, that's kind of clever in a way. Should we be taking these knights seriously as a really great faction, or should we be treating them as just meatheads, dummies, right? Like bullies.
Yes.
And I don't know that this show's really cleared that up with a lot of different ones, whether it's the California Republic people, which are like, I think the solo people or whatever. So what that means is you'd think they'd be rugged individuals, and I don't know if they are really portrayed that way. They're just not consistent that way, because something like that was they're doing it for yucks, it feels like, rather than driving home a point, which I think will end up being detrimental to it. Because you contrast that to another scene in here where kind of going back to the whole Shady Springs thing here a little bit, the storyline, the flashback, which I'm not fans of. I do like seeing the guy's father. So what happens is, this reminds me of like the Old West thing. A stranger comes right into town. I'm like, oh, that looks like something of the game where you have like the random traveler that you can spend your credits on, right? Or in your loot, right?
Yeah.
And the guy comes in and he's falling down, he's hurt, and so this guy's a good guy. They're making a happy home life there, and he runs out to help the guy, and there's a crowd around, and he's got that chip in the back of your head, and you're like, okay, this is serious. What's he doing?
Yeah.
And then he goes to the guy's wagon, pulls off the blanket, and you see that there's a bomb there that he's trying to disarm. So it's like, you get a nice scene like that. You're like, okay, this is pretty tense, and it explains the evilness behind, Hank in general, which I appreciate it, right? But then you have this goofy stuff of hot potato with whatever, and it's like, really, you just gave me a great big scene like this and a badass scene with the Area 51, and then you give me hot potato. That's just it's inconsistent to me. I don't like that.
Yeah, I hear you. I got a photo of the actual atom bomb, which I thought was kind of nice for prop.
But these pictures look good. The sets look good. When you're walking through Shady Springs, you're like, that reminds you of the game a little bit.
It's got a Pep Boy attached to it, to the bomb.
Yes.
I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
It is. And then when it explodes and you see it on Hank's Pip Boy, like it's like your cell phone, right? He stops for a second and he looks and it says detonation successful.
You see at the bottom right?
Right? And then what does he do? He goes to read Lucy, who's really young at this point, like a story. You're like, oh, you're an evil fucker dropping bombs. Yet you're calling it.
They zoom out, like it's focused on his Pip Boy. He's in the background. He's gonna sit down with the book, and you see a little mustard cone go whoosh.
Yep.
It says detonate successful.
Those little touches are what make this show cool when they do them like that.
But the other thing, though, is we got to see that this younger Hank, who was like staring in the mirror, and he just trying to come embrace the fact that he just murdered billions of people in that city. So he had a conscience back then, a little bit, somewhat of a bitch. For a brief moment, he did have one. But then he went on, he ignored it for the greater good because he's a psychopath.
Well, James Bond's handler is like, you haven't killed two people, Bond. You haven't earned your license. And he's like, oh, well, I just had the one there. And he's like, well, you know what they say. Then he kills the guy because the second one's always easier. So, because he's too good of an actor to kind of let him just be a buffoon, which is how he's been portrayed so far.
So the other thing in this episode we got to see was back in Area 51 with their brother Steele. The leader calls a meeting, and we get all these different factions, together. And they didn't invite the Commonwealth because they're like, just like The Walking Dead, fuck the Commonwealth. we're gonna reunite against them and do a civil war. And what's really cool that popular because one of the actors who is in there, he's from the Brotherhood of Coronado, is the great actor Brian Thompson
from
from Terminator. He's from Mortal Kombat Annihilation. He was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the very first episode with Michelle Gellar is one of the vampires.
Mm-hmm.
He's also in Fright Night, I believe, 2 as well.
Oh, that guy, the knife guy from Cobra.
Yeah, Cobra.
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't recognize him. Oh,
yeah.
He's a great heavy.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
He's in there. He's the one. There's he's in the corner there. Yeah, he's from Coronado, and just he's just like you'll recognize. We see his face because he has like that kind of look. He has. It almost looks like scars always.
He's got to be a character though. I mean,
he's one of the general, the leaders of the Brohead factions, and it seems like everything was going well, despite the fact that some of them don't like the fact that there's females in the ranks in the one group, and the other ones don't give a shit either. But they all eyes a little bit Christmas when they realize that because this now the one that Maximus is serving under, they actually have a fusion core, they have technology, they're able to basically make those little yellow bombs. Now I can't remember what they're called in the game, but everybody just lit up. They're like, holy shit, because they want one of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I said, the other thing going on is Vault 31. We have Norm, Hank's son, Lucy's brother, mm-hmm. who basically was locked in there with Bud Askins, the little robot guy, and he ends up basically taking Bud Askins and putting him upside down inside a janitor's bucket,
A unique form of torture.
Yes. So, and he basically is in there with all the guys. Basically, these are handpicked associates that worked for Bud, and he lies and says, "Well, this is a final test. I'm the, is this reclamation day? Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. But there's a hitch though. There's a final test. We need to get you guys, to figure out how to get away out of this vault." So, everyone's kind of freaking out a little bit first, and then they realize, oh, wait, I worked on the ventilation hatch. And I'm thinking, the ventilation hatch? How have any of the spiders or anything's crawling through those ventilation things? I always forget about that. But yeah, through the teamwork, they work and they climb up there, and you see Norm, he climbs out, and Norm's just like, holy shit. And he's like, it's like, because they're basically by, I think it's New Jersey. I can't tell. There's a Ferris wheel, a dock by the ocean.
Oh, that would be I believe.
Was that New York?
No, that should be the pier on Santa Barbara's.
California then.
Not Santa Barbara, but Santa Monica, the pier, yes. Like it's Cellular with Jason Statham. That pier. That's
it'll look or Fallout or Fall Down. Sorry, Falling Down. Sorry.
Los Angeles, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. And he of course he's been in the for 220 years. He's the last person, like one of the generations for 200 years, been underground, birth, dying, and he's never seen the surface. So he is nervous going out. He climbs out, and he walks over, and it looks like a shithole. It looks like there's tons of sand everywhere, and there's destroyed buildings, except for a few the government issued houses, cookie cutter houses, and they're like, "Oh, it looks horrible. It's depressing." He's like, "No, it's beautiful," because when you've only known living inside a vault with fakeness, this is the real. You get to see the wind, stuff, and then so that plot is going on now. I don't know what's going to do with him because he has lied to him saying that he is a manager for Vault-Tec, and now that they're out, who's to know what's going to go on? But they all have their little like camping gear on too. I'm thinking like, ooh, you don't know what's going on. But Maximus also gets to kill some zombies in the beginning here, because he had to grab a device for his boss, and it was kind of cool. It was kind of like first person shooter kind of thing, like Doom at first,
Yeah, and he clearly doesn't care about what he's doing.
I gotta ask you, when these big giant machines are walking around, does it feel like you're watching the giant Muppet guy from the Muppet movie? The big
I can see that, because one of the things that we talk about is how CGI can look really shitty, and we would prefer practical effects. And my understanding is, like, say,
this is a prop though. They're walking in though. I don't think it's CGI from some parts.
I agree. It looks a little bit too fluid, and maybe not, but it's also in shadow too. But the thing is it's like in Stranger Things. My understanding is Venka's outfit is legitimately like a suit that takes 6 hours to get into.
Yeah.
And it kind of looks that way, right?
Well,
here I kind of get the same feeling with these power suits. And
Kyle McGoffin, he insisted he wanted to be in the suit and he had to walk in it. Yeah,
and that's kind of cool because it kind of makes you feel like if you play the games and you get power armor and you get into it, the way you interact just feels clunky. So I thought they did a good job. That felt like a video game. That's why I say sometimes they do really good in this episode when they're focusing on saying, hey, this is what it feels like to play the game.
Kind of like the Halo TV series I'll compare with that, the other one that was through Paramount Plus. When it was just the guy wearing the helmet and going around killing the alien stuff, it was great because it was all like watching the CGI. It was actually it was all video game stuff. But as soon as the moment they went away from that, they started trying to go into somewhat of a story and it's just felt nothing like the game was supposed to be based upon. Now this is I don't know. I'm not sure how close this is to the story, but obviously, I imagine Fallout has 3 different routes, or at least I don't know if New Vegas did, but you could go the Brother of Steel, you can be the Vault Dweller, or you can be.
That's the problem is that when you if you and me are like going up against each other, it's A versus B versus A, right? Good and evil, right?
Yeah.
3 could get interesting, and anything more than that usually gets complicated. But in certain games like Fallout, and I'm thinking of one from about your generation there in the late 90s called Deus Ex, not Human Revolution.
Yeah.
The first one had the Illuminati. It had like a couple other ones. I think they had up to 6 factions. And so it's very difficult to juggle all of them because to me, you can't put all of them in and give them a storyline. You have to reference them and do something and then bring a character who represents it. And that's where this episode, even though there's some great stuff about it, there's like 5 or 6 things they're trying to manage. That's a little too much.
And if they're only going to do like 8 episodes or even 10, like one episode should just focus on one character and have a brief mention of the other characters. Then we go to them. Then we just go back and forth instead of trying to do all of them in one episode. Especially this, they kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's just the point where it's like after a while, I don't care anymore. Like I said, overall though, the show, we said in the first episode, it is very pretty, but it's not very that engaging. I felt myself trying to watch this, and I kept thinking to myself, why am I even forcing myself to watch this? I know we want to review it, but like, it just felt like some parts I was like, I don't care. Also, there is a character here too that she was also with a squire. She's poses as a boy because that's what she identifies as in real life, whatever. But you can tell it's a girl with a mustache. Skinny, scrawny, and she pretty much goes after Maximus and doesn't like the fact that he's going along with this new boss and they're gonna do a Civil War thing. It's like, and she's trying to guilt trip him. I'm thinking like, shut up. At this point, let Maximus be what he's gonna be. It's like I don't need somebody kind of like and this is weird though. It's kind of lame writing because it's the only LGBT character or actor in the show. And they're trying to make them like the moral character.
Well, I don't remember if this was the same character that we saw in season 1.
It was in season 1.
Right.
It's same character. The one that got knifed or something like that.
Yeah. So I got to compare it to something that's out now, and that's Stranger Things, which, a lot of people like the whole idea here is that the Duffer Brothers were telling you from the get-go that Will Byers, because he's special, is going to be the main guy that can do it. So basically being gay means you're a superhero. And the one thing that people would argue that are hardcore might sit there and say, well, if you're gay, it's you get it from one or two things. Either you're born that way, or you have like say trauma or something, right? And so basically, Venka's saying, hey, you're born gay and I need you, so I'm going to capture all the little gay kids who have this potential late thing. We're going to dress it up as psychic powers and all that, even though the government's trying to weaponize it. And then that's going to be how the world works. And it's like, if they think they're really meta by doing it, that's fine. And some people embrace that. I think the forced diversity as far as the relationships all has made the last couple of seasons unwatchable.
I haven't
watching it, but it's a slog, and it's really divisive because they literally have like an episode to go, and they spend the last 10 minutes of the last one him talking about how he doesn't like girls, and it's his big coming out. And of course, the actor timed it for when he did too. And you know what?
Well, he came out last year.
Well, whatever.
Show. But regardless, though, it's
but the point is it doesn't do anything for the story of what you're doing. And so when you do that, it doesn't work. And that's why part of this is failing here in Fallout. Even though a lot of people are watching it, there's a younger group of people that go, oh, because it has all this, it's good writing. And you and I look at it,
felt like you can tell it's a very diverse show.
Yeah.
On purpose, but sometimes it doesn't bother me because I'm a person I can watch it regardless, whether we consider woke or not, I can usually just slog right through it because it's a very minor thing. It's just that kind of stood out to me as you gotta you got Maximus being yelled at by the only character that is clearly a girl, and in this make-believe world, and no one gives a shit the fact that this is a girl on the team that's posing as a boy, and no one's ever mentioned it once. Now you tried to fight this character, so it always throws me out when they bring that character on the screen. It just draws me out, just pulls me out of the story. But overall, though, like I said, Walter Goggins' character, when they're inside the hospital, Lucy decides to make a decision to save the girl after he slit the other guy's throat and was going to feed on him. Mm-hmm. But he was irradiated or full of chemical to venom. So he split the piece out, and then of course he gets tagged, and he gets stabbed, and the girl also, he pulls the woman in front of him too. They also get stabbed, and he needs a Simpant. Simpant, yeah. And he's like, he's like, and she decides to give it to the woman. And I'm thinking right then and there, this would have been the perfect part from the story, is that she was led into a trap, and the girl basically takes her stuff and leaves her there to die. After say thanks, and then robs her.
Sure.
Because that's what needs to happen to Lucy, and that's kind of what I think. Remember in the first season, something similar happened, where she thought she was being kind, and turned out just the person just used her. I understand the whole point of her character is basically to be as nice as long as she can, hold out. This the good will can always have a happy ending. But I mean, I want her to be tempted. I want her to get so frustrated where she has to make a decision. Mm-hmm. I don't want it where she's just like, no, you're a mutant. You can survive. And I'm thinking, okay, well, what is she gonna do with her dad? When she gets to Vegas, do you think she's gonna have to shoot her dad? If she doesn't shoot her dad, she's not
gonna be able to hug him and sit down, and have some tea and
there's no character growth. And I mean, the only thing I can think is going to happen with these little control packs. Mm-hmm. He might not use them on humans. He might actually use it on Walter Goggins' character.
Yeah, I think
that's what we're going towards.
Yeah, look, no, the ghouls, obviously isn't in a relation, marriage and all that, has a mixed kid and all that too, and so that was thrown in there.
There was no flashbacks this time for them.
Right, so it's kind of like, wait a minute, what's driving these two out into the wasteland? What is their mission? Remind me of it again.
I think he kind of wants to know where his wife and kids are.
Exactly.
And Hank probably knows what they are. The problem is that Hank might not even be alive. Who knows?
The other thing too, and you've mentioned this on your other channel when it comes to individual writers with a particular content. And how they choose to see stuff and write things out. People usually look at that, but then studios get involved. I do know that, for example, I think it's Bethesda basically now owns this Fallout franchise. So what happened is with New Vegas, I may be wrong, but my impression is that it was for the most part done. The studios couldn't fuck with it that much, but people liked it and it was a lot of fun. So I thought this season is going to be primarily about New Vegas. Yeah, you can have your storylines how you want to do it in a big meta thing like they're doing with Hank, right, and blowing everything up. Okay, that's cool. You tried to piece that together.
Yeah.
But I would figure like season 3 might be more of like Fallout 4 or whatever. And I don't know that I clearly see that, and I think that confuses some people, but it does make you feel like it's moving towards that.
The only connection to 4 to me for this is the dog.
Yeah, more dog meat, please.
And the story was it's a loose adaptation. They changed it for the ghoul. Was basically you're looking for your loved one, your child, and and you have to do all this stuff for the Vault-Tec thing, thinking, hoping, they might help you out, but it's
it needs to be a bit more clear on where they're going.
We also need more big monsters. They have them in the game. There's these giant monsters. They have the big bull horns. They have the big tail, and they're muscular, and they're fast. And they're supposedly they're pretty much the overkill things that try to kill you. They gave us a tease at the end of the last season. They showed the skull, you know, and I'm like, we need this in here. We had the bear last season.
That I do remember that, and that feels like part of the game. You're like, hey, you're walking into an area, what's going on? And this is the Witcher comparison I made too, where you would have something and it would be there just to kind of pop you, but the outcome of that would be relevant to what the person was doing in The Witcher. And then here, we don't get that. Like, we don't get who those people were. Raiders, let's say, in the opening of episode 1 of this season, where she's up in a sniper tower, won't take a shot or anything like that, even though she's well trained and everything. And
she questions, she goes for option C. You know, it's like,
right,
which honestly would probably be in the game. Don't do nothing, make a decision, do nothing. There's always a do nothing. Where you leave the timer run out.
Yeah,
sometimes it's sometimes it lets it select it for you. So I didn't know, but yeah, she's gonna learn that, hey, there's gonna be some character growth for her. Otherwise, she's gonna be this adult character. Maximus, we saw some character growth with him.
Care.
So he basically, when they have all the families come over from the different clans come over to meet together, there's basically like a
Goggins.
There's a street fight going on, and I was missing his Lionheart, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and basically this guy
had that actor.
Yes. And so this dude basically wants to challenge him. And he's like, you're the guy, that killed the former wearer of his suit, And he's like, yeah. So whatever. The guy challenges him to a battle. He's like, okay, let me go grab my suit. He's like, no, without the suit. So then they're fighting, and he's getting his ass kicked, and he manages to get a lucky blow on the guy. I think he actually gave him a kick the balls. That's what he was able to. he went MJF on him. And
he did.
Yeah, and the guy pulls it out, and then the guy reaches out and he pulls out a knife, and he looks over, and Max just keeps looking over to his boss. He's like, really? He's like, Chuck Norris, come on, dude, you can do it. Then he basically gets beat up. But then he uses a cheap shot. He's able to get the guy, and he stabs him into the chest and kills the guy. And I'm thinking, like, there's no way. I
like the idea of what they're trying to do with Max. I don't like him being forced into that relationship with Lucy. There's potential there for a line, and that's my frustration right now with the show, is that there's solid things in here, but they've not. You're in season 2. You should be pretty much kind of figuring out what show you are and how you're going to get there.
Yeah,
right?
And I do like the fact, though, the Golden Rule being the name of the episode, because with Lucy basically she has her own thing as far as, do unto others, do unto them do unto you. And then you have Maximus, his dad, teaching him, telling, hey, and it's like, there's always good in the world. Is you just got to basically leave a little bit behind for others. Maybe he'll turn on her. I just don't like their pairing, because it feels like I'm getting like Rise of the Skywalker again, a forced pairing,
completely forced
romance. And I was I don't need that at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, it's actually been a fun show for the most visualized. And whenever we have Kyle MacLachlan on there, I love his name. Kyle, I was thinking of the MacLachlan group back in the 90s. There's the MacLachlan group. Just him driving around in the Austin Powers car, the Dr. Evil, and he gets stuck. Funny. I was waiting for him to get stuck back and forth, and him just going back, like, that's gotta, after a while, it's gotta be the most annoying thing. Okay, my stuff. But wouldn't you bring like a bunch? Instead, he kept going back and forth. I'm like, can we get a box? Put them all in there, then bring them in. But
let them be who they are, not necessarily morally conflicted.
Yeah.
Unless they're young, let adults be adults, right? Let them be from the division. Let us understand it. We understand what the conflict is, and we look forward to the simmering of all those ingredients as they reach a climax somewhere in Las Vegas. Because right now, I still haven't seen a lot of stuff in Vegas. I know they teased it. We had a great shot of them overlooking the hill on a city, very video game-ish, a nice scene. And then we don't feel anything here at all. And it's like, I want to see slot machines. I want to see the subway. I want to see whatever it is that's in the game or about the city. You got to see it. You got to see like an Elvis impersonator. You got to see,
and that's the thing
with Vegas, right?
I've never played the game of when I watch a gameplay. Where's the Nuka-Colas?
Yeah.
I need to have more of that. I want to see some bottle caps, whatever they use for currency. More of that. That was in the first season. All of a sudden, that's gone now.
True.
It just feels kind of weird. So, and just I need more monsters. I love it's a great step in the direction to bring in the scorpions because those are true. Those things are a bitch in the game, especially in, I think number 3. I think it was.
Yeah,
they're
just
Xbox 360.
They're just doing a minimum amount here and expecting us to glaze over them.
It's only a second episode. More. They could have a lot more in store for us. We don't know, but overall, you said it's okay. I'm more interested right now, invested in more than Lucy and Walter Goggins' character, anybody else, or even Hank's. Hank, yeah. I'm more interested into Norm's. What's Norm's going to do with these people now they're on the surface?
We'll be able to talk about that here because I do feel like the one thing that's very consistent about the show, and I will say it as a positive, is that they're very deliberate with their pacing. They're not going too fast, not going too slow.
Yep.
When they're doing a flashback, whether or not you and I disagree if it was needed in this episode, it's clear what they're trying to accomplish with it. They're juggling a bit much, so maybe it'll get a little bit easier here as the season 2 progresses.
I kind of wish this show would have been made in the 90s. Even though it would have been kind of a really low budget stuff and it just looked kind of weird.
But it would have fit, right?
I would have loved having Jack Palance as the bad guy.
Oh, he'd have been incredible. You're like, man, when do I get to see Jack Palance again? Standing like
he is Jack Palance in Vegas, New Vegas. He's the president or whatever. He's like, you're in my fucking town.
Hank, Lucy,
and then we get Jean-Claude. We'd have like Jean-Claude Van Damme, like from Cyborg.
Oh, that'd have been fun. Yeah, we'll be talking about Fallout for the rest of the season.
Will Smith as Maximus.
No Will Smith. I'll ruin it. I'll take Max over Will Smith right now.
And then we have Shannon Doherty as Prue, or as the main girl Lucy, or what was the other girl from Party 5?
I don't watch that crap. I'm not gonna know.
Yeah,
shout out to Kaden jumping in, saying hello and all that, checking out the stream and all that. Appreciate it. We're doing a double stream here tonight, the short and the long version here too. So pretty interesting here to go there too. Anything else? RDB?
No, that's all I gotta say for tonight. Overall, that first episode, very weak sauce, very pretty, very weak sauce as far as storyline.
One's a little better.
It's a little bit better this time. We have different writers, still same director. And there is only one surprise guest that pops in here at the end. That's Kumail Nanjiani. You recognize him. He was in Ghostbusters Afterlife. He was the guy who was supposed to help them capture the ghost. His grandmother was yeah. He's not from Harold Kumar. No. he's like he'd be like the stand-in for Kumar.
He's the guy that ran a cycle and bitched the entire time about how hard work it is.
Yeah, he was also in Stupor with Dave Bautista stuff. Also rumored to be the Booster Gold cast pick by James Gunn, which is a rumor. And believe me, if this guy gets that role, no one's gonna watch it. Definitely not any more than they would have watched before.
I would rather watch the Blue Beetle kid.
Honestly, Miguel, sure,
absolutely.
He's a great actor.
In something like this, he's got that kind of. He would have fit in this show.
So would Robbie, and the Rivals again. Anyway, follow. This is season 2, or episode 2, The Golden Rule. Thank you all for those who did tune in, stay and watch, and those who kind of like jumped in and jumped out. Hey, thanks for being here, Elizabeth, for 30 seconds. And we'll be back in about 20 minutes or 12 minutes or so. At 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be reviewing The Bishop's Wife from 1947, a little Christmas movie with Cary Grant. And as I forget what his name is, but it only has Daniel McNiven, I think it is.
Oh, McGiven. McGiven? David Niven.
Dave McNiven, that's what it is, yeah.
David Niven, yeah.
And Julia Harker?
I forget her name.
I don't care.
She has a funny looking face, not in a bad way, but
Loretta Harkness, or like, I don't know, something like that. Anyway, we're gonna review that, and yeah, so we'll see you guys later. Thanks for stopping by, and click the like, hit the subscribe button, and for more stuff, and leave your comments down below after the stream.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, guys.